At the bustling Willow Creek Convention Center in Texas, the crisp autumn air hums with anticipation for a grand military ceremony. Luxury cars gleam in the packed parking lot, but one vehicle stands out. A weathered 1985 Dodge Ram, its faded green paint scarred with rust, parked quietly at the curb. Joe Harlan, a 75-year-old veteran with silver hair and a worn denim jacket, steps out, his Veterans of Foreign Wars cap pulled low. Across the lot, a brash young security guard named Mitch shouts, "Move that rusty heap, old man! This ain't a scrapyard!" His words draw snickers from nearby staff arranging the red carpet, one muttering, "That truck's older than my grandpa!" Joe doesn't flinch. With a calm nod, he walks to the passenger door, its hinges creaking as he opens it. Out steps General William Bill Carver, his dress uniform adorned with medals that catch the morning sun, 4 stars gleaming on each shoulder. The crowd falls silent. Mitch's jaw drops, his walkie-talkie frozen mid-air. A young reporter nearby captures the moment, her camera lingering on Joe's quiet dignity. If this story of unsung heroes moves you, hit that subscribe button to join our journey at Steelheart Stories. The sun climbs higher over Willow Creek, Texas, casting long shadows across the dusty roads that Joe Harlan knows like the back of his hand. Every Wednesday, without fail, his 1985 Dodge Ram rumbles to life, its engine coughing like an old friend reluctant to wake. The truck is a relic, once a proud forest green, now a patchwork of rust and faded primer, with a cracked windshield and a passenger mirror held together by duct tape and sheer stubbornness. A bumper sticker, barely legible, clings to the rear. "Ho Satrin." "We paid for your freedom." Joe, 75, with a face etched by time and trials, doesn't care that the radio's been dead since Reagan was president, or that the seats smell faintly of motor oil and memories. "She runs," he'd say, patting the dashboard. And that's more than most can claim. Today's no ordinary Wednesday, though. Joe's on his way to pick up General William Bill Carver, his oldest friend, for a Medal of Honor ceremony at the Willow Creek Convention Center. As he drives through rolling fields, golden under the autumn sky, the truck rattles over potholes, each jolt a reminder of its age. Inside, Joe's quiet, his calloused hands steady on the wheel, but his eyes, sharp and blue as they were in '69, betray a flicker of something deeper, something unspoken. He pulls up to a modest ranch house on the edge of town, where Bill waits on the porch, resplendent in his dress blues. 4 stars gleam on his shoulders, his chest heavy with medals that tell of battles fought from Vietnam to Iraq. At 78, Bill's posture is still ramrod straight, but his steps are slower, his cane a reluctant concession to time. "Still dragging this old beast around?" Bill teases as he eases into the passenger seat, his medals clinking softly. Joe grins, tapping the steering wheel. "And got me through worse than potholes, Bill, like that night in Da Nang?" Bill's smile fades, his gaze drifting to the horizon. "Yeah," he says softly, "like Da Nang." The words hang heavy, a shared secret neither man needs to unpack. They've known each other since 1969, when Joe was a wiry sergeant and Bill a brash young captain, thrown together in the chaos of Vietnam. That war bound them tighter than brothers, forged in moments no one else could understand, moments Joe doesn't talk about, not even to the grandkids who climb into his truck for ice cream runs. As they roll toward the convention center, the truck's groans blend with the hum of tires on asphalt. Joe glances at Bill, who's adjusting a medal with trembling fingers, a rare sign of nerves. "Big day," Joe says, breaking the silence. "Not for me," Bill replies. "For the kid getting that medal, Afghanistan, saved his whole squad." Joe nods, his jaw tight. He knows what it costs to be the one who makes it out. The conversation turns light, as it always does. Old jokes about Army chow, the way Bill still folds his socks like a cadet. But there's an undercurrent, a tension neither acknowledges. Joe's hiding something, and Bill knows it. A small box sits tucked under the driver's seat, its edges worn from years of handling. Inside, a faded photograph, and a dog tag no one's seen in decades. Joe's never shown it to Bill, but today, as they pass a roadside memorial for fallen soldiers, his hand twitches toward it, then stops. Whatever's in that box, it's not ready to see the light. The town gives way to the convention center's sprawl, where gleaming SUVs and polished government cars crowd the lot. Joe maneuvers the Dodge into a tight spot near the entrance, close enough for Bill's bad hip. As he cuts the engine, a glint catches his eye. A child's toy soldier left on the dashboard, a gift from his youngest grandson, Tommy. "Says I'm his hero," Joe had chuckled when Tommy gave it to him, but the words stuck. Heavy with a truth he's never claimed, he tucks the toy into his pocket, unaware that in minutes the world will see him differently. Across the lot, Mitch, the security guard, is already eyeing the truck, his walkie-talkie crackling with impatience. Joe steps out, his boots crunching gravel, and feels the weight of eyes, staff, reporters, passers-by, judging the man and his ride. He doesn't care. He's faced worse than sneers. But as he circles to open Bill's door, a young woman in the crowd, her press badge glinting, watches him closely. She's there for the ceremony, but something about Joe, his quiet grace, the way he carries himself, makes her pause. Her camera clicks, capturing the truck's dents and Joe's weathered hands. She doesn't know it yet, but she's just caught the first frame of a story that'll change everything. There's a storm brewing, not in the sky, but in the moments to come. Mitch's voice will cut through the air, sharp and careless, and Bill's entrance will silence the laughter. But for now, Joe's just a man driving his friend, the truck just a vehicle doing its job. Neither seeks glory, yet glory's waiting, patient as the box under the seat. What's in it? A name? A promise? A debt unpaid? The answer's coming, whether Joe's ready or not. If stories of loyalty and hidden courage pull you in, subscribe to Steelheart Stories. We're just getting started. The Willow Creek Convention Center buzzes with anticipation, its parking lot a sea of polished chrome and starched uniforms under the Texas sun. Joe Harlan's 1985 Dodge Ram, a battered relic of green and rust, sits humbly at the curb, its dents soaking up curious glances from the crowd. Joe, 75, steps out, his denim jacket frayed at the cuffs, his Veterans of Foreign Wars cap casting a shadow over eyes that have seen too much to flinch at judgment. He's parked close to the entrance, mindful of General William Bill Carver's bad hip, but the spot draws attention, too close to the red carpet, too rough for the gleaming SUVs of VIPs. Across the lot, Mitch, a cocky security guard with a bright orange vest and a chip on his shoulder, zeroes in. "Hey, old man!" he barks, his voice slicing through the chatter. "Move that junk pile! This ain't a salvage yard!" Heads turn. A cluster of event staff, adjusting velvet ropes, snicker. One, a young guy in a cheap suit, mutters, "Bet that truck's held together with spit and prayers." A woman nearby, her press badge swinging, stifles a laugh but keeps her camera trained on Joe, sensing something more than a rusty truck. Joe doesn't bite. He's faced mortars and monsoons. A loudmouth with a walkie-talkie doesn't even register. With a slow nod, he moves to the passenger door, his boots steady on the gravel. The crowd's eyes follow, half mocking, half curious, expecting nothing but an old man's compliance. Mitch crosses his arms, smug, his radio crackling with static as he calls for backup to handle this eyesore. The air grows thick, charged with the weight of a moment no one sees coming. Joe's hand grips the door handle, the creak of metal loud in the sudden hush. Then, like a thunderclap breaking a storm, General Bill Carver steps out. His dress blues are pristine, 4 stars blazing on each shoulder, his chest a constellation of medals earned in blood and fire. Vietnam, Iraq, places etched into history. At 78, his presence commands silence, his cane no diminishment of the authority that once led thousands. The medals catch the sunlight, throwing flecks of gold across the truck's chipped paint, and for a heartbeat, the world shifts. The truck isn't junk anymore. It's a chariot. Mitch freezes, his radio slipping from his fingers to dangle by its cord. His face drains of color, the bravado evaporating like dew in the desert. The staff's laughter dies mid-breath. The guy in the cheap suit chokes on his coffee, eyes wide as he whispers, "Holy hell, that's General Carver." The reporter, her camera still rolling, zooms in, catching the contrast. Bill's regal bearing, Joe's quiet strength, the truck's unapologetic scars. She's not just filming a scene, she's capturing a reckoning. Mitch stammers, Sir, I didn't. I thought—" Bill fixes him with a look, not cruel but piercing, the kind that cuts through excuses. "Next time, son," he says, voice low and steady. "Look before you leap. You might miss what's right in front of you." The words land like a verdict, and Mitch shrinks, his clipboard a flimsy shield against the weight of his mistake. The crowd shifts uncomfortably, some turning to their phones, others staring at the ground, as if the asphalt might hide their shame. But the moment isn't done unfolding. A murmur ripples through the onlookers, and a new figure emerges. A teenage boy, maybe 16, in a faded army surplus jacket. His eyes locked on Joe. He's been watching from the edge of the lot, unnoticed until now. Clutching a crumpled letter in his fist. His grandfather was a Vietnam vet, a man who spoke of a driver who never left anyone behind. The boy's not sure yet, but something about Joe, the way he stands, unbowed by scorn, feels familiar, like a story half-remembered. He steps closer, hesitant, the letter trembling in his hand. Is Joe the man his grandfather meant? The question hangs, unanswered, as Joe helps Bill adjust his coat, his hands steady, but his jaw tight. He feels the eyes, the cameras, the boy's gaze, but says nothing. The box under the driver's seat, the one with the dog tag and faded photo, seems heavier now, its secrets stirring like ghosts. The reporter lowers her camera, her smirk gone, replaced by a quiet resolve. She's seen enough to know this isn't just about a general in a truck. She slips through the crowd, trailing Joe and Bill as they move toward the entrance, her notebook already filling with questions. Who is this driver? What's he carrying that no one can see? The boy follows too, his letter a tether to a past he needs to understand. Mitch, left behind, picks up his radio, but his voice is gone, lost in the echo of Bill's words. The truck stands alone now, its dents glowing in the sunlight, a witness to a truth about to unfold. If you're hooked on stories where courage hides in plain sight, hit subscribe at Steelheart Stories. There's more to come. The Willow Creek Convention Center looms ahead, its glass doors reflecting the Texas sun as Joe Harlan and General William Bill Carver approach, the echo of Mitch's blunder fading behind them. Joe's boots scuff the pavement, his denim jacket catching the breeze, while Bill's medals clink softly, a reminder of wars won and lost. The 1985 Dodge Ram sits back at the curb, its rusty frame now a quiet legend after Bill's grand exit silenced the crowd. Joe's hand lingers on Bill's elbow, steadying his friend's slow steps, but his mind drifts to 1969. Da Nang, a night of fire and screams, where their bond was forged. The memory stings, sharp as shrapnel, and Joe's fingers tighten briefly, brushing the toy soldier in his pocket, a gift from his grandson Tommy. He doesn't notice the teenage boy from the parking lot trailing them, his army surplus jacket too big for his frame, clutching a crumpled letter like a lifeline. The boy's eyes dart between Joe and the ground, searching for courage to speak. His grandfather's stories of a driver in Vietnam looping in his head. Inside, the air hums with anticipation. The lobby packed with uniforms and suits buzzing about the Medal of Honor ceremony. Joe helps Bill adjust his coat, smoothing a lapel with the care of a man who's done this 1,000 times. "Looking sharp, General," Joe says, a faint smile breaking through. Bill chuckles, but his eyes hold something heavier. "Sharp enough to make him listen today," he replies, his voice low, hinting at a plan Joe doesn't yet grasp. The box under the truck's seat, the one with the dog tag and faded photo, flashes in Joe's mind, unbidden. He shakes it off, but the weight of it lingers, like a debt he's carried too long. They move toward the hall, Bill's cane tapping a steady rhythm, when a voice cuts through the crowd. General Carver! Ani bundi. Jis. A woman in her 40s, event coordinator badge, pinned onto her blazer, hurries over, tablet in hand. We've got your seat ready, front row, of course. Her eyes flick to Joe, curious but dismissive, assuming he's just the driver. You came in that truck? She asks Bill, a smile faltering. Bill's gaze doesn't waver. Best ride I ever had, he says, because of who's behind the wheel. The words land softly, but they stir something in Joe, a flicker of unease, like he's being seen too clearly. He tries to slip back, aiming for the shadows where he's comfortable, but Bill's hand clamps his arm. You're with me, Bill says, not a request. Joe hesitates, his cap low over his eyes. Ain't my place, Bill. Bill's grip tightens, his voice dropping to a whisper only Joe can hear. It's been your place since Da Nang, Joe. Don't make me order you. The mention of that night hits like a punch. Smoke, blood, the roar of a jeep through hell. Joe's throat tightens, but he nods, following Bill toward the entrance. The teenage boy hovers nearby, unnoticed, his letter now creased from nervous hands. He catches a glimpse of Joe's face, lined, resolute, and feels a jolt. His grandfather's voice echoes. The driver. He never stopped, not even when the world was burning. Could this be him? The boy's pulse races, but fear keeps him silent, his question trapped. A sudden commotion pulls Joe's attention. Across the lobby, a man in his 70s, wiry and weathered, pushes through the crowd. His eyes lock on Joe, wide with recognition. Harlan? He calls, voice cracking. Joe freezes, his breath catching. The man, Sam, a radio man from their Vietnam unit, closes the gap, his hands trembling as he grabs Joe's shoulders. It's you, ain't it? The one who drove through that damn ambush. Joe's face hardens, deflecting. You got the wrong guy, Sam. But Sam's not buying it. Like hell I do. I was there, 3 miles of mortar fire, and you pulled us out. The lobby seems to shrink, eyes turning their way. The reporter from the parking lot, camera still slung around her neck, edges closer, her instincts flaring. She doesn't know Sam's story yet, but she smells truth, raw and unpolished. Bill watches, a faint smile tugging at his lips, as if he's been waiting for this moment. Joe shifts, uncomfortable under the weight of Sam's words. The box under the seat burns in his mind. Whose dog tag is it? Why's he kept it hidden all these years? Sam's voice softens, almost a plea. You never told anyone, did you? Joe looks away toward the hall where the ceremony's about to start. Didn't need to, he mutters. But Sam's not done, and neither is the boy. Now just steps away, his letter shaking like a leaf. The reporter's pen scratches furiously, catching fragments of a story bigger than she expected. Something's coming, something Joe can't outrun. If tales of loyalty and buried truths keep you gripped, subscribe to Steelheart Stories. We're digging deeper. The Willow Creek Convention Center's Grand Hall glows under chandeliers, packed with rows of uniforms, civilians, and flags snapping in silent pride. The Medal of Honor ceremony is in full swing, honoring a young Marine, Ethan Cole, for his heroism in Afghanistan, running through enemy fire to save his squad. Joe Harlan sits in the back row, his Veterans of Foreign Wars cap resting on his knee, his weathered hands folded. The 1985 Dodge Ram waits outside, its dents a quiet testament to the morning's drama, when General William Bill Carver's entrance silenced Mitch's taunts. Joe's content here, in the shadows, watching Ethan's eyes glisten as the medal is pinned to his chest. Applause swells, but Joe's thoughts drift to Da Nang, 1969, and the box under his truck's seat. Dog tag, faded photo, a secret he's buried for decades. He doesn't see the teenage boy from the parking lot, still clutching his crumpled letter, now seated a few rows away, stealing glances at him. The boy's heart pounds, His grandfather's stories of a driver in Vietnam feel alive in Joe's quiet presence. On stage, speeches roll, senators, officers, all praising Ethan's courage. Joe's chest tightens with pride, not for himself, but for the kid who made it home. He shifts, the toy soldier in his pocket, Tommy's gift, pressing against his side. Then Bill's name is called. The crowd rises, honoring the four-star general, his medals gleaming as he takes the podium. Joe leans back, expecting a few words about Ethan, but Bill's gaze sweeps the room and lands on him. The air shifts, heavy with intent. "This medal," Bill says, touching the blue ribbon around his neck, "was earned in a foxhole, surrounded by chaos." His voice is steady, but there's a tremor of something deeper. "But I'm here to wear it because of a man who never asked for thanks." Joe's stomach drops. He grips his cap, knuckles whitening. Bill's not supposed to do this. Not here. Not now. The hall falls silent as Bill tells of Da Nang, 1969. 3 miles through hell, he says. Mortars raining, a busted Jeep, and one man who wouldn't quit. Joe Harlan drove through an ambush to pull me and 2 others from a collapsed bunker. He bled, he fought, and he saved us. Gasps ripple through the crowd. Joe stares at the floor, heat rising in his cheeks. The box under the seat burns in his mind. Whose dog tag is it? Did someone not make it out that night? The reporter from the parking lot, seated near the front, scribbles furiously, her camera rolling on a tripod, capturing Bill's words. The teenage boy's eyes widen, his letter trembling in his hands. His grandfather's voice echoes. "The driver. He was the heart of it." He's sure now, Joe's the one. But fear keeps him glued to his seat. Bill's voice rises. "Joe never got a medal, never wanted one. But he's the bravest man I know." The crowd turns, searching, and eyes find Joe, slouched low, wishing he could disappear. Then Ethan, the young Marine, steps forward. From the stage, he snaps a salute, his face tight with respect. The gesture breaks something open. The hall erupts, people rising to their feet, clapping, some cheering, others wiping tears. Joe's throat closes, overwhelmed. He sees Mitch, the security guard, against the wall, head bowed, his earlier swagger gone. The event coordinator, her tablet forgotten, dabs her eyes. Sam, the old radio man from the lobby, stands too, his weathered face beaming, shouting, "Damn right, Harlan!" Joe wants to bolt, but Bill's gaze holds him like a tether. A new figure stirs in the crowd. A woman, late 60s, her hands clasped tight. She's a stranger to Joe, but her eyes are locked on him, brimming with something like recognition. She was a nurse in Da Nang, she realizes, one who patched up survivors from that night. She never knew the driver's name, until now. She whispers to her husband, "That's him, the one who brought them in." Her words don't reach Joe, but they fuel the reporter's curiosity, who's now texting her editor. "This is bigger than we thought." The boy, clutching his letter, inches toward the aisle, heart racing. Is this his moment to speak? What's in that letter? A name? A thank you? A debt? Joe feels the weight of it all, the applause deafening, the past clawing free. The box, the dog tag, whatever he's hidden, it's closer to the surface than ever. Bill steps back, his smile soft but fierce, knowing he's finally cracked Joe's armor. The ovation rolls on, a tide Joe can't outrun. If stories of unsung heroes grip your soul, hit subscribe at Steelheart Stories. This is just the beginning. The echoes of applause still linger in the Willow Creek Convention Center as the Medal of Honor ceremony wraps, but outside, the world is already catching fire with Joe Harlan's story. The reporter's video of General William Bill Carver's speech, outing Joe as the unsung hero of Da Nang, hits the internet like a spark in dry grass. By dusk, it's racked up thousands of shares, hashtags like #HarlanDrive and #RealHeroes trending across platforms. Joe, oblivious to the digital storm, climbs into his 1985 Dodge Ram, its rusty frame unmoved by the morning's drama. When Bill's grand exit humbled Mitch, the brash security guard. Joe's hands grip the wheel, the toy soldier from his grandson Tommy in his pocket. A quiet anchor. But the box under the seat, dog tag, faded photo, a secret locked tight, feels heavier tonight. Stirred by Bill's words and the crowd's ovation, Joe doesn't know a teenage boy, clutching a crumpled letter, is out there, wrestling with whether to approach him, his grandfather's tales of a Vietnam driver burning in his mind. Back in Willow Creek, the town wakes to find Joe's face on every screen. The local diner hums with chatter, old-timers swapping stories, kids Googling Da Nang, 1969. A Facebook post from the reporter, captioned, "The driver who never stopped," pulls in comments from veterans nationwide. Knew a guy like that in Nam. Quiet, but bulletproof. Joe, uncomfortable with the fuss, ducks a TV crew outside his modest ranch house, muttering, "Just drove my friend, that's all." But Bill, standing firm at his side, won't let him shrink away. "They need this, Joe," he says, voice low. "They need to see what courage looks like without a spotlight." The words sting, and Joe's mind flashes to the box. Whose dog tag is it? Did he fail someone that night in Nam? The question gnaws, unanswered, as a new figure emerges from the chaos. The woman from the ceremony, the nurse from Da Nang. Her name's Clara, and she's tracked Joe down. Her memory of a blood-soaked Jeep and a relentless driver, now sharp as yesterday. Clara's call reaches Joe that afternoon, her voice trembling through the phone. "I was there," she says, "patching up your boys. You drove them to me, didn't you? Through that hellfire." Joe's silent, his grip tightening on the receiver. He doesn't confirm it, but Clara doesn't need him to. She's already spreading the word, her story fueling the viral wave. By evening, a group of Marine veterans from Dallas shows up unannounced, tools in hand, determined to restore Joe's truck. "No charge," their leader, a grizzled mechanic named Ray, insists. "This rig's a damn war hero, too." They polish the Dodge to a soft shine, fix the engine's cough, even install a new radio, but leave the dents. "Battle scars," Ray calls them. Joe watches, uneasy, as neighbors gather, snapping photos. The teenage boy's there too, hovering at the crowd's edge, his letter now smudged with sweat. He wants to hand it to Joe, to ask if he's the driver his grandfather owed his life to, but the crowd's too thick, his nerve too thin. The next morning, the VA hospital unveils a sign where Joe always parks. Reserved for Joe Harlan, unsung hero. Mitch, the security guard, shows up at Joe's doorstep, cap in hand, eyes red. "I was wrong, sir," he stammers. "Didn't see who you were." Joe shakes his hand, firm but kind. "We all miss something, son. Just don't miss it twice." Mitch nods, but as he leaves, he spots the boy across the street, letter still unopened, pacing like he's facing a firing squad. The boy's name is Lucas, and his grandfather's letter, written before he died, mentions a driver named Harlan who saved their squad. Lucas's hands shake. If he's right, Joe's his hero. But what if he's wrong? The reporter, sniffing a deeper story, catches Lucas's hesitation and jots his name down. She's digging now, chasing whispers of Joe's past. Unaware, Clara's already found a Vietnam record naming Joe's Jeep run. Harlan's Drive. Donations pour in, parts for the truck, funds for local vets, sparked by a GoFundMe titled Honor Joe. Joe protests, "I don't need this," but Bill shuts him down. "It's not about you, Joe, it's about them." Clara visits, bringing a photo from '69, a wrecked Jeep, medics swarming. "This was you," she says, pointing. Joe's eyes linger, then turn away. The box under the seat. Why won't he open it? Is it guilt, loss, a name he can't face? Lucas watches from afar, letter burning a hole in his pocket, while the reporter closes in. Her next article half-written. Who is Joe Harlan really? Nay. The story's not done, and neither is Joe's reckoning. If tales of truth breaking free hit you hard, subscribe to Steelheart Stories. More's on the way. A year has passed since the Willow Creek Convention Center erupted in applause for Joe Harlan, the quiet driver, whose courage General Bill Carver laid bare at the Medal of Honor ceremony. The Texas sun still beats down on Joe's 1985 Dodge Ram, now polished by Marine veterans, its dents proudly untouched as battle scars. The truck's tailgate bears a new stencil. Courage needs no medals. Joe, 76 now, still drives Bill to the VA every Wednesday, their laughter and silences as familiar as the road. The viral storm of Had Harlan Drive has faded, replaced by new headlines, but Willow Creek hasn't forgotten. Kids wave when Joe passes, calling it the hero truck. The box under the seat, with its dog tag and faded photo, remains unopened, a shadow Joe carries alone. He doesn't know Lucas, the teenage boy with the crumpled letter, is closer than ever to confronting him, driven by his grandfather's stories of a driver in Vietnam. Nor does he sense Clara, the Da Nang nurse, piecing together fragments of that night in 16, her old medical logs hinting at a name tied to Joe's secret. Joe's life is quieter now, but changed. At the diner, folks nod respectfully. Veterans salute at stoplights. The VA's sign, reserved for Joe Harlan, unsung hero, stands firm where he parks. Today, as he waits for Bill outside the VA, the toy soldier from his grandson Tommy sits on the dash, a small guardian. A girl, no older than 10, approaches, her braids swinging. "Mr. Joe?" she asks, eyes wide. "My dad says you saved a general. Is it true?" Joe's smile is gentle. "I just drove when it mattered, kiddo." She beams, mimicking a salute, and Joe returns it, crisp and proper. But his hand pauses, brushing the seat's edge, where the box hides. Why won't he open it? Is it shame, a lost friend, a promise broken? The question lingers as Lucas watches from across the lot, his letter now worn thin, his resolve hardening. Today's the day, he tells himself, but his feet feel rooted. The next Medal of Honor ceremony arrives, and Joe doesn't slip to the back. Bill insists he sit up front, their shoulders brushing as the national anthem plays. Joe stands tall, his denim jacket swapped for a pressed shirt, though grease still lingers under his nails. The crowd's eyes flicker to him, not with pity, but pride. Ethan Cole, last year's honoree, catches Joe's gaze and nods, a silent thank you for showing him what courage endures. Clara's there too, in the third row, clutching a faded logbook. She's found something, a medic's note from Da Nang about a fourth man in Joe's Jeep, one who didn't survive. Her hands tremble. She needs to tell Joe, but not yet. The reporter, now a local name after breaking Joe's story, is back, her notebook open. She's chasing Clara's lead, sensing Joe's past holds more than even Bill knows. After the ceremony, Lucas finally moves. He's waited a year, haunted by his grandfather's letter, which names Harlan as the man who drove through hell to save him. Outside, as Joe and Bill head to the truck, Lucas steps forward, voice cracking. "Mr. Harlan? I think you knew my grandpa, Tom Wheeler." Joe freezes, the name a blade. Wheeler, a squad mate from 69, one he pulled from the bunker. The box flashes in his mind. The dog tag. Is it Wheeler's or someone else's? Joe's face tightens. "Good man, Tom," he says, voice rough. Lucas holds out the letter, shaking. "He wrote this for you. Said you saved him." Joe takes it, hands unsteady, but doesn't open it. "Later, son," he says, eyes distant. Lucas deflates, but the reporter, watching nearby, scribbles furiously. She's close to cracking it. Clara's logbook points to a soldier Joe couldn't save. That night, Joe sits alone in his driveway, the truck idling softly. Bill's at home, but his words from years ago echo. "You can't carry it forever, Joe." The letter rests on the seat, next to the box. Joe's fingers hover, then pull the box free. Inside, the dog tag glints. Not Wheeler's, but another's. Danny Ruiz, a kid from his unit, lost in the chaos Joe drove through. The photo shows them laughing, young and fearless. Joe's eyes burn. He saved 3, but not Danny. Clara's call comes later, confirming it. Danny's name in her log, the fourth man. Joe nods into the phone, voice gone. Lucas's letter, when he finally reads it, holds Wheeler's thanks. You gave me a life, Harlan. Joe exhales, the weight lighter, not gone. The truck gleams under the stars, a witness to his truth. If stories of redemption and quiet bravery move you, subscribe to Steelheart Stories. We're not done yet.